Today on the Morning Edition, all eyes on Alaska this week as President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are scheduled to meet face-to-face this Friday. The meeting comes days after the president's proposed deadline for a ceasefire deal came and went. Plus.
But the bottom line is that we need to make sure that we're finding these teachers and bringing them into ASD. This is a great time to join the district.
ASD superintendent and his push to hire more teachers. We sit down for a one-on-one to hear what's being done to fill classrooms before the first bell. And later, the pressure is on. The American Ninja Warrior finals continue tonight. A sneak peek at the jaw-dropping challenges the competitors will face on their way to glory as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up and joining us here on a Monday. And if it couldn't get any lovelier, we have the one and only Tracy Sinclair in for Aaron all this week, actually.
Yeah.
You'll be hanging out with us.
Yeah, giving Aaron a little bit of time away.
Are you rested?
I think he just wants to be away from us.
No.
Not the work, not the audience, just us.
Oh, just us?
Just
well,
us,
it's the girl. We got the girls here. So.
That's right. And we had that rain all weekend, kind of here in South Central. It's kind of rainy. There's going to be sun today. Oh, did I say that out loud? There's going to be sun today. But here's what we've got going on right now. It is dark outside. It is, because I'm not usually up this early. I'm going to be absolutely honest. But I woke up and it's like, it's really dark outside. 47 degrees out at Stevens International Airport. Pretty light winds coming out of the south to about 6 miles per hour. But we are starting to feel a little bit of impact because we actually have a little bit of a wind chill. It does make it feel like it is 44 degrees. Now, into the interior, Fairbanks, you're at 45 degrees. Really not much change once you add in those light winds as well. Around the Anchorage area, though, we're getting some chillier temperatures. School starts later this week for the Anchorage School District. We're already at 45 around the New Seward and Huffman area. Camel Creek at 45, Muldoon 48 degrees, and 48 around Ship Creek as well. But here is the change going on. You can see we're kind of getting rid of that rain in South Central, not really impacting Fairbanks proper, but parts of the interior, you're still seeing some rain. But down in Southeast, more rain headed your direction. And then across the West Coast, clouds, and we're dealing with high surf advisories. This is what we've got going on. Now, we did see some lightning around the areas north of Valdez into the mountains around Thompson Pass. You see a few lightning strikes showing up there. But overall, you see most of those clouds have moved out and are moving away from South Central. Still a pretty good amount of rain into the interior with that, but a little bit to the east of Fairbanks. And then out to the west, as I said, high surf advisory extending pretty much the entire west coastline from the Seward Peninsula down past Bristol Bay. Just kind of be prepared for that. And then in southeast, again, be ready. We are looking at more rain coming your direction. And we're watching Suicide Basin pretty closely. It is starting to overflow, could drop any day now.
In our top story, the countdown is on this morning to a high-stakes summit Friday between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, focusing on ending the war in Ukraine. The White House says that meeting will take place here in Alaska, but so far no other specifics have been released. Garrett Hawk has the latest for us at the White House.
The White House this morning preparing for a high-stakes presidential summit in the latest attempt to broker a ceasefire in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine.
We're going to have a meeting with Russia.
President Trump announcing he accepted an invitation to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The leaders later announcing the summit would take place Friday in Alaska. Mr. Trump suggesting Ukraine will have to give up land for peace.
There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
Over the weekend, Vice President J.D. Vance traveling to London to huddle with Ukraine's European allies to discuss Ukraine's peace proposals, even as Russia continued its assault on Ukrainian cities. A top Trump ally sharing some of the president's thinking ahead of the meeting.
The goal for me, and I think President Trump, is to end it forever. You'll have some land swaps, but only after you have security guarantees to Ukraine to prevent Russia from doing this again. You need to tell Putin what happens if he does it a third time.
But Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who sources say the White House is considering inviting to the summit, rejecting the idea of ceding any territory to Russia. And yesterday, Zelensky responding to, he says, more attacks from Russia and saying Russia's intention is to deceive America. The summit will cap off President Trump's months-long evolution on the war. He began his second term with a promise to end the war on his first day in office. The next month, he had an Oval Office shouting match with Zelensky.
You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards.
But as the war dragged on and the casualties mounted, President Trump publicly lost patience with Putin, threatening additional sanctions and tariffs on Russia's trading partners.
We get a lot of bull thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
All of it leading to a dramatic diplomatic showdown on the last frontier.
And when news of the meeting broke, we had multiple members of our team covering the story. You can go on our website and mobile app to find reaction from Alaska's governor and delegation. We'll also have team coverage this Friday when the meeting is set to take place, so be sure to keep it to Alaska's news source for the latest updates. Governor Dunleavy declares an emergency in Juneau over threat of a possible glacial lake outburst flood that may impact the Mendenhall Valley. The city and borough of Juneau says it and the Central Council of the Tlingit and Haida Indian Tribes of Alaska issued an emergency disaster declaration on Friday. This allows resources to be mobilized ahead of time. Now, this video is from August of 2024, which saw flooding from the glacial lake outburst that the CBJ says was well outside mapped flood zones. Well, this morning, friends and family remember 78-year-old John Skip Dove, found dead last week in his Soldotna home. Police arrested a woman who had been renting a room from him in connection with his death. Friends and family say Dove was the kind of man who left a lasting impression on everyone he met. Our investigative team's Johnson Kuhn spoke with his loved ones.
Crushed. I'm heartbroken, and I can't believe that he's gone.
A family in mourning, trying to come to terms with such a tragic and unexpected loss.
The way that he's left this world is a complete and utter shock to me.
Emily Higginson describes her Uncle Johnny as a teddy bear despite his rough exterior. She says she'll always cherish the tender side he'd share with her in phone calls, a side she says not everyone was privileged to.
He was entering into a stage of his life where he truly was happy.
Emily's father and Skip's brother, Peter Dove, shared stories of his older brother's time in the Navy as well as the time he served in the Vietnam War. While he's deeply missed by family, Peter says there are countless friends all around the world who mourn his loss as well.
I've met extremely few truly charismatic people in my life. He's one of them. He has this human magnetism about him. He just can attract a crowd. They like being around him. It's very difficult to explain. It's a gift of God.
A close friend of Skip's recalled becoming instant friends the first time they met in Soldotna in the late 70s. Described as a man with many layers, his friend saying he'll miss most the late-night cribbage games, motorcycle rides, and trips to Arizona.
He didn't know a stranger. He had all the classic characteristics you need to be like an effective human, but on multiple levels, right? Because he could relate to anyone, he could talk to anyone, never met a stranger.
Skip is survived by his 2 children. His wife passed in 2023. Peter says they hope to hold a memorial in Soldotna soon. Well, the U.S. Coast Guard is raising alarms over a surge of foreign research vessels operating in Arctic waters. In a statement, officials confirmed crews recently responded to 2 ships operating in the Bering Sea and the Chukchi Sea over the past several days. The Coast Guard is now tracking 5 similar vessels in or near the Arctic. Officials say this continues a 3-year pattern of increased Chinese research vessel activity in U.S. Arctic waters. In a statement, the Coast Guard Arctic District, along with international partners and Alaskan Command, works to monitor foreign ships near sovereign waters and the outer continental shelf. A new powerhouse arrives in Juneau, with Senator Dan Sullivan calling it a game changer for Arctic security.
This is a historic day for Alaska, for the United States Coast Guard, but really for our entire country, with the arrival of the Storis to its new home port here in Juneau.
A commissioning ceremony was held for the newest addition to the Coast Guard fleet there in Juneau. The Storis is a polar icebreaker that measures 360 feet long and is designed to operate in the Arctic. At the ceremony, Senator Sullivan highlighted his efforts to get the ship brought to Juneau, expressing the need for this type of vessel. He says because the Arctic is a rapidly changing region, the United States has a duty to expand its presence in this portion of the world.
So let's be clear. Arctic security is American security. This region is undergoing monumental change. Sea ice is receding, new trade routes are opening, vast reserves of natural resources are becoming accessible, and our adversaries are moving fast to assert control.
The United States' only operational heavy icebreaker, the Polar Star, which is on its second life extension, is currently undergoing repairs in California. America's one medium icebreaker, the Healy, recently suffered an engine fire and is in the process of returning to port for repairs. A petition has been filed to relist great whales as an endangered species. It cites data from NOAA that shows great whale population at its lowest since the 1970s. NOAA also says only 85 gray whale calves were recorded migrated past Central California earlier this year. That's the lowest since record keeping began in 1994. A retired professor of marine conservation at the University of Alaska Fairbanks, who filed the petition, says the data from NOAA's office shows the need for the relisting.
30 years ago, they were delisted from the Endangered Species Act. NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, thought that they were doing well enough that they could actually come off the endangered species list.
Now that the petition has been filed, Steiner says the agency has 90 days to accept or deny it before it can move on to the next stage of the process. He asked for it to be expedited because he feels time is of the essence, so a decision is not made too late for the species. Alaska's news source reached out to NOAA about the petition, and the agency said it was unable to comment until today. Well, coming up, a new chapter for a Fairbanks favorite.
I have never seen this much energy and excitement at Pioneer Park before.
After some much-needed renovations, families are enjoying the long-awaited opening of a community park's upgrades.
And taking a look at our daylight hours across the state. Well, here in Anchorage, sun rising just before 6 this morning, setting tonight at 10:08. Fairbanks, you've got about 15 minutes before your sun rises. Juneau coming up now, and then in Bethel, you'll see the sun not until almost 7 o'clock this morning. We're losing time rapidly. I'll have your full forecast when we come back.
Well, good morning, everyone. We are back here on your Monday, showing you a live look at Mendenhall Glacier there in Juneau. And as you can see, Tracy, the fog has set in this morning for that. Yeah, it is. That is a beautiful shot. And very, of course, interestingly, we are watching the basin that is part of Mendenhall Glacier. It's called Suicide Basin, and it is starting to overtop its boundaries, which usually is an indication that we will see the outflow hitting soon. If you guys remember, this is when we were dealing with all that flooding around areas in Juneau last year. So we're gonna keep pretty close watch on it. It is a pretty dramatic event when this moves in. So here's what we've got going on our satellite radar. We had a lot of rain in South Central yesterday, still seeing some in the interior, still seeing some in Southeast. But for South Central, most of this is moving out of the way, and we're behind it. We're going to see some sunshine, at least a little bit briefly. Into the interior, Fairbanks, not really seeing this rain. You're also going to see some hit and miss clouds today, but you'll get through your sun the next 2 days. But then you can see we do still have some of that rain a little bit to the east and some snow at the higher elevations. Looking at that high surf advisory continuing across the west coast, also looking at some rain moving through. And then in Southeast, we'll continue to watch Mendenhall Glacier, but we're also watching a pretty good, a sizable amount of rain coming in to Southeast Alaska. So right now across the state, behind that rain though, as I said, we're seeing the sun. Check it out. All the way from Unalaska, along the Aleutian Islands, Alaska Peninsula, into Bristol Bay, Bethel, you've got 43 degrees and clear skies, 43 and Kodiak around and that sunshine. And we're seeing those clear skies develop here in the Anchorage area. So around South Central, holding on to some lingering showers still in the valley and around Prince William Sound. But these clouds will start moving out of the way. Talkeetna, you've got a few showers, but it is going to move out of the way and you'll get some sunshine. Eureka, also a little bit chilly at 39 degrees and seeing those rain showers. So this is what we're looking at. This is that kind of clearing that is moving in behind that area of low pressure.
And here's that rain I was talking about. We got a new system that's kind of developing over in the Bering Sea, and that is pushing into western Alaska. So by later today, most areas around from Bristol Bay north will start to see some rain develop if you haven't already. And then the end of that front is going to continue to swing through, kind of breaks off a little bit. But then you see what's happening into south central, into the interior, parts of eastern Alaska. It's sunshine, clear skies, those warmer temperatures. We value every one of those days that we have at this time of year. And then that rain kind of redeveloping in the Gulf, and that is going to push into southeast Alaska. So here's what we're looking at for Fairbanks for the next 7 days. As I said, you'll see your sun coming in tomorrow, but mostly cloudy to partly sunny today. Temperatures into the low 60s, low 70s around for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then you're back into the mid to low 60s. For the areas around Anchorage, our warm days are today and tomorrow. We're going to see highs into the mid 60s today to about 66 degrees. Another sunny day tomorrow, mostly sunny skies for our Monday and Tuesday. But then by Wednesday, we'll see the clouds move back in, and Thursday we are likely to see a few rain showers coming back in as well. So expect to see a few clouds and a few showers coming in by midweek. But before we get there, we're going to continue to see those mostly clear skies and temperatures into the upper 60s.
After months of waiting, children and adults alike are able to enjoy the new playground at Pioneer Park in Fairbanks. The project that began last fall is part of ongoing renovations at the community landmark. Adrian Peterson shows us phase 1 of a multi-year project.
The community has come out in droves to Pioneer Park to explore the new playgrounds that have been built as part of an ongoing renovation project. Behind me, kids are laughing and screaming as they run about the new and improved playgrounds.
We've been waiting for it all summer. We're super excited.
According to Borough Assemblymember Mindy O'Neill, the renovations were needed to increase accessibility at the playground.
I think that you can just look out at all of the children and families that are here to demonstrate why this is needed and why parks like this are so important to the vitality of our city. It's definitely an area for kids to enjoy.
She says it'll help make Pioneer Park more of an attraction in the community. The number of people at the openings of the playground affirmed her beliefs.
I mean, I have never seen this much energy and excitement at Pioneer Park before. And so I think that it's just an indicator for building it out.
Borough Mayor Grier Hopkins says the renovations were made possible by COVID funds from the federal government.
That funding came to us for opportunities for people to get outside and do healthy activities away from each other. But now we get the fruits of those labors to be able to bring people together here at Pioneer Park and have a great time for years to come.
The kids and parents agree.
I think it's awesome. I think it's a lot better than the one before. And I can't wait to play on it every time I go here.
As a mom, I'm really glad to see all the pea gravel gone. That's really nice. I like seeing that there's a lot of inclusive equipment and structures for kids to be playing on. And yeah, it's just really fun. It's bright, it's lively. It's an update that I think was really needed.
The next phase of the project is expected to commence in 2027. That'll include an expansion of the playgrounds with plans to renovate the park as far as the riverbanks. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.